All right, so here we are. We're back and we're going to assemble this. So how do you line that shaft up with this pump? Because this shaft moves, right? So it's a one-person job. You don't need two people. You don't need somebody underneath with a bar or whatever else. Just got to be a little bit clever and understand what you're trying to do here. So basically we're going to shove this on. I'm going to get the shaft somewhat where I want it to be. I'm going to align all my studs. I'm going to just get it onto my studs. I'm going to reach my hand in behind. I'm going to feel the shaft. We're going to rotate as we need to and it should slide right on. So let's see how slick this is. And I mean, if you miss the hole, your pump's not going to seat properly. So you know you missed the hole. And you're not going to be able to tighten this up. Nothing's going to work properly. So you're going to know if you got it wrong. And if the slide's all the way on and everything's happy, then you're good. So anyways, let's see how well this goes. Well, there we go. We're pretty much on. I'm going to take my extension here. I'm just going to rotate this pump if we can, just a little bit. Just to make sure that we are all seated in there. I'm actually getting hung up on my pump ring there that I talked about earlier that had a little bit of a defect in it. The shaft's in. I'm just trying to get this to kind of seat where I want it to. Back out. We're just going to check this here. This is the problem I'm having right there. And at some point along the way this was not installed properly and kind of deformed here a little bit, and I don't even know if I'm going to get this to work, to be honest. There we go. So by repositioning that O-ring up here to the top, I could see where it was wanting to push out, and I was able just to kind of guide it in there a little bit with my screwdriver. But we're locked in now. Everything's right flush back to where it needs to be, and our impeller is locked up with our drive shaft. So there we go. We are going to get our nuts now. Remember, these are nylock. We do not need to put Loctite on these at all. And we're going to get to work here and reassemble this. All right, I left this off right now, just so I can get everything seated in the way I want it to. We can put that on there in a second, no problem. Same technique here as with the cone. I'm going to get these nuts all to a certain point where they're touching the pump, and then we're going to tighten them down slowly but surely, one by one. And this is going to allow us to make sure that we have a proper seal and we're not slipping offset of anything. There we go, we're pretty much bottomed out. And what you want to do, I know it's going to be really hard for you guys to see in here, you want to make sure that your O-ring, the pump seal ring is in there. It's not bubbled out anywhere, wherever you can see. Your washer here for the water intake, you want to make sure that that's secure in there and there's no gap there. And then you're just going to snug these down. And I mean, if I had to guess, we're probably going to say we're going to be somewhere between 15 and 17 pounds on this. But again, this is just by feel for me. And that is all good. We don't want to strip anything. We don't need to be over tight. We need to be snug. If you have questions about this, if this is your first time doing it, I will say get yourself a repair manual and then you'll know everything that you need to know. If you're mechanically inclined, I'm sure you can handle it without a repair manual. Just for the fact that, you know, you can tell if you're going to strip something, you can tell if something's not right. Just pay attention to everything as you're putting it back together, right? So anyways, we're gonna put this back on here. And that's kind of the reason why I like doing everything by hand, because I can feel what's going on. If you're in here zipping with a gun or whatever else, you can't tell what's going on. By the time you realize that something happened, it's already too late. You could have already kicked the unit out of the shop. Customer uses it for the weekend and bring it back with an issue. You go to take it back apart and realize, oh shit, that sucks. So anyways, there we go. Just left to put our nozzle back on. We are going to put some Loctite on these bad boys here. There was yellow on here originally. I think yellow's a little bit stronger than what blue is. But I use blue for just about everything. So there we go. Gonna get our mouse trap back together here. Just be careful with this. You don't want to jam up any cables, jam up your hands. And this is only gonna fit one way as well. You're gonna feel it drop in there. And it's gonna take your bolts. And again, this should all go together by hand. Now, if you're in salt water, brackish water, what have you, this could be totally different. You may need to run a tap and die through some of this to clean up threads and whatnot. My recommendation to you is that if you are using your unit in salt water and you're having to do any maintenance like this is when you do take it apart, is if you can grease everything up, so like a light skim of grease on your threads going back in, and then to put some Loctite on the bottom threads then as well, and then at least that way it's going to prevent any salt water and water from getting in there and creating rust. It's stainless steel, but honestly I see saltwater units that come up from Florida and they're still corroded. So the salt water is going to attack it regardless, and especially with people who aren't changing their anodes on a regular basis or don't want to be bothered with it. It's just a little bit of preventative maintenance for you, and it's going to make your life easier down the road. So you may have to, you know, tap and dye it basically, and you know, put a little bit of grease on there, put your Loctite still on there, and then away you go essentially. If you're dealing with this quite regularly and you know there's a good buildup of corrosion on there, I would probably even bypass the whole Loctite thing and just put some grease in there and just monitor it. But chances are is that the corrosion is going to be your Loctite and hold everything in place for you. You're not going to have to worry about these backing off on you. And I mean, if you lose one and say 3 of them back off on you, your biggest concern here is just getting back to the dock and being able to control the boat. The nozzle can't go anywhere. It's still going to be attached with the cables, and in this case your power assist steering, and you know you're not going to lose anything but your bolts. So that's kind of your worst case scenario, but honestly I haven't seen that happen. If you know, it's installed properly and tightened down correctly, really you shouldn't have that problem. So I just snugged everything up there with my stubby 3/8, and I am just lightly tightening these guys down. Again, we're stainless steel to aluminum. And again, if I had to be a betting man with this, I would go 12 to 15 pounds on your torque wrench if you really, really want to. But no more than that. And basically, you probably want to start off at 10 and work your way up, because as everything ages, your threads aren't as strong, and you don't want to be stripping stuff with your torque wrench either. So there we go, nozzle's reinstalled. We're going to go the reverse of the way we took everything off here. So start with our shift cable, pay attention to where our washers and spacers are. There we go, we see how easy that was. Get our 10 mils, we're going to tighten this up as we go, because in that way we know that it's all tight, and if we get distracted partway through, we don't have to come back and wonder if everything's tight and recheck it. We know that it's tight. There we go. So that's tight. At this point too, you can test that to make sure it works. Everything's fine. And do the same over here for our steering. There we go, we're going to test that. That all works. And we are going to reinstall our off power assist. I know when everybody says Seadoo and having to get it worked on and whatever else, there are certain situations and certain jobs that are definitely a lot more difficult than others. But at the end of the day, this stuff is pretty figured out from a manufacturing, research, and design kind of end of things. And once you have a little bit of experience with them, they're not that bad to work on. So don't let the fact that the Seadoo scare you, you know, and discourage you from trying to do any of this yourself, because it's just a comfort level, and once you get involved with it, you know how everything works, you know what's going on. I mean, it's really no different than anything else out there. So different animal, same problems. So there we go. Everything's tightened up. We see our cables are all straight here. Everything's working here. Our off power system's working, our reverse feed's working. And that's it. So there we go. So that's a wear ring installation, removal installation with the pump assembly and everything else. So everything's good. I got some other work to do on this thing, so I'm going to see about doing videos with that. We have a starter to do, and then depending on how the starter goes is going to depend on if the customer wants to do some hull work on this. I do have a request out there. Someone would like to know how to remove said Seadoo from trailer to work on it. This kind of relates back a little bit to last year when I did the Wave Runner videos. So this is going to be the unit that we're going to demo that on. It's just I'm not taking it off the trailer just yet until I can confirm that yes, we're doing the work, or no, we're not doing the work. And either way, I will still do a demo of trailer on off basically with the lift, and how to do it yourself at your home garage, and what items you can utilize to do that to make it safe and practical for you. And that way then either A, I'm going to work on it, or B, we're just going to put it back on the trailer, I'm going to kick it out the door. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope it was informative. Hope you learned something, and this is going to help you out on your next wear ring installation. If you have any questions, please do leave them down in the comment section, and I will do my best to get back to you in a reasonable time frame. So anyways, hope you enjoyed it. If you do, hit the thumbs up button, and please do hit the subscribe button. Thank you in advance, and I hope you're all having a great day, and we'll see you again on the next one. Take care.